Was your hair tight? When I wake up in the morning, my bed has says 4 Like, was your hair tight? Tryna go out tonight. I think I need my balance. It's always a kinky conversation. A kinky conversation. But I got that magic.
Welcome back to Kinky Conversations. Hey, ladies. Hi. So today we have a special topic, and it's really dear to me. In 2016, we had a family member of mine get murdered, and it rocked me to the core, y'all. Like, it was so much that I went through, and I know at the time I was wearing wigs and weaves, and I just felt like I had to unleash myself. But at the same time, as I started on the journey of healing, I wanted to understand and face who I was. You know, I felt like, I remember at one point I was like, I'm Drexina the photographer. And one day I'm like, what does that even mean? I'm not just a photographer, I'm Drexina. You know what I'm saying? So I had to disconnect myself from that and then find myself. So I started, actually it was in last year. I took off the wig and I started, wearing my hair, and it's been like an enlightenment. Thank you for joining us today.
No, it's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
So let's talk about your journey.
How much time we got?
We need some time.
Yes. I'm a mother of 3, a grandmother of 4 now.
What?
Yes.
Look like a mother of none.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been an amazing journey. We've shot together because I was doing a reality show called Atlanta Exes. A lot of people know me from being married to CeeLo Green, from doing Cribs, My Super Sweet 16 with my daughter. Coming into that situation, it was kind of okay, I'm going to use this as an opportunity to bless people, or else why am I doing it? We have been offered many shows before that, but I felt like this would give me an amazing platform to, one, bring a face and to domestic violence, because that's something that I've been through, as well as Graves' disease, which almost took my life. So it's been a real journey of exploring, finding myself, understanding who I am as an adult, healing my past and childhood, and change, and I won't say suffering, because I feel like that's a choice. We're all going to go through our stuff. Whether you suffer or not is really a choice. So, but it's been a lot of hard work. So
what made you, because I see you're
do the big shot?
Yeah, it's amazing.
Right. Thank you so much. Thank you.
That's why I was like, Grandma, where?
Yeah.
I
know. I had locks and they were super long. And it's not my first time. It seems as though when we go through things as women in life, cutting our hair seems to be like a new beginning. So I've had that before. Like in my 20s, I did it. And I remember being in the nursing field at the time, and there was a lady at the hospital that was like, I don't like your hair. Because I was locking my hair. So I used to wear it in the little Bantu knots until it locked, just to keep it neat. And she was like, if you didn't have such a pretty face, I would report you.
What?
Yeah, she just did not like the locks. But for me, it was like, I'm in my 20s. I'm a single mom at the time of 2. I'm finding my way, and this is a new beginning for me. And then, again, I remember doing it probably about 4 years ago, and I remember dating the guy that I was dating saying, please don't cut your hair, because I'm not attracted to women with short hair.
Nice.
And I remember, right, exactly. But it's always such a spiritual thing for me. And I remember saying, spiritually, I feel like I'm supposed to cut my hair. And he kept saying that. I'm like, well, then bye. With this last chop, I've been doing the work all this time. Like I said, I've been through turbulent childhood. I grew up around abuse. So it wasn't foreign for us to see a gun cocked to our mom's head, her eyes blackened, so, I had to heal from all this stuff. My dad not being in my life, me being a teenage mom, pregnant at 16, again at 19. So I've been doing the work, like the real work, for years. But this last year has been the most powerful year for me. And so I did a 40-day, 40-night fast. And I didn't eat food. No
food at all.
Liquids. And initially I just did water. And then I did the lemonade from the Master Cleanse for a few weeks. And then at the last 2 weeks, I did green juice. So no food. And it really was a spiritual fast just to get to the bottom of my stuff. And like what I call the residue. It's like you're doing the work, but we still have the residue left, the things that make us, that trigger us in our relationships. And so getting rid of that residue was the 40 days. So I woke up on I want to say it was the 11th day of the fast, and spiritually, I felt like God said, cut your hair. Wow. So I called my son in my room, and I said, I want you to cut my locks. And I explained to him what was happening. We're going to cut my hair. I asked God to use my head as a portal to pour into me his unconditional love. And any resentment, negativity, anything that was in there, anger, I want to release it. I just want to be covered in your love and be a reflection of that. Because I've always felt like I was. But like I said, with that residue, it's like I'm cleaning it all up, Lord. I need you to show up and really work through me. I'm like headed towards 50 at this point. And so I really need to take care of my body. So I changed, I cut my hair, just filled myself with love, release all negativity. And it was right at my son's 18th birthday. So being a single mom at 16 and 19, I went from being someone else's responsibility to having my own responsibilities. And now that my kids are grown, one's almost 30, one just turned 26. I have an 18-year-old. And so I wanted to just have a fresh start. Just been asking myself, what adventures do you want to have now? Where do you want to live? What do you want to do? And that's what's so amazing, because it's another new beginning.
I think it's so amazing that you had the intuition to cut your locks, because in a lot of African traditions, people think that when you lock your hair, you lock energy and emotions into it. And for example, if you're training for the priesthood in Ghana, when you start the beginning of your training, you lock your hair, and when you're finished, you shave it to shave all of the negative energy off, or all the accumulation of the energy that you may have. So the fact that you just knew intuitively to shave your locks, that's just amazing. How did you feel after that?
I felt free. I woke up the 11th day of the fast, and I could hear God saying, okay, cut your hair. And so I asked my son to do it. And so me sharing the release of any resentment, anger, negativity was his way, my way of showing him how you can release something physically, but it also affected me emotionally. So it's amazing to hear about the priesthood, because it's like the healing has been going on for so long. And from the time I shaved my head about 3 or 4 years ago to locking my hair and then cutting it again is so amazing. That's so crazy.
And another thing that I find particularly interesting about your story is the way that you're dealing head on with family curses. Because family curses are things that, happen generationally that we don't address, and abuse is one of them.
Yes.
And the fact that you are making it your lifelong mission to not only heal your family of your family and your generational curses through domestic abuse, but just imagine how you're healing your children.
Absolutely.
I mean, that is powerful, and that you're spreading this to other people. Could you give us a little bit more about that?
Well, I feel like one of the greatest lessons we can teach our children is how to love. Through the way that we love in our relationships, whether it be love relationships with our parents. And so I taught my daughters young, we're not generational curse makers, we're generational curse breakers. And so teenage pregnancy was one of the things that, I set out to put an end to, because my mother, her mother, all were teenage moms. And so with my kids, I wanted to break that. And so communication is key. And living the example is key, because I understand that I'm their first example of woman.
Yes.
Therefore, they're looking at me and mimicking my behavior, because kids don't always do what we say. They do what we do. And for women, this is who I'm going to become, you know, and for boys, it's like, this is who I'm going to marry. Now, if you don't like yourself and you don't want to have to deal with yourself through your sons, wife,
Because it's going to get you one way or another.
exactly. It's like, so it's so important for us to clean up our stuff generationally, emotionally, spiritually, physically. I mean, even going through this journey, I've lost 36 pounds in 4 months, maybe. Just really honing in on doing the work. And as far as abuse is concerned, a lot of times we allow abuse because we feel like we need to be punished. So I grew up without my father. You know, he didn't acknowledge me as his daughter. He didn't claim me. And so I always felt, you know, like I wasn't enough or inferior or not loved and neglected. And so that had a lot to do with it. And then growing up around abuse, you either become the victim, the perpetrator, or a survivor. And I feel like victims don't survive. So I consider myself a survivor of domestic violence. And so I wanted to make sure that my children wouldn't mimic that, because it's very hard to go to your daughter's house and say, hey, you need to leave this guy. But it's like, but you still with this guy who's doing the same thing to you.
So what are you saying? Yeah.
So I know, you know, being very, very young and having children young and being tied to these type of relationships, I really had to get to the core of, why are you dealing with this? And even when I wasn't, and it just hurts me to say this, but it's true, even when I wasn't strong enough to leave for me, I had to leave for my girls, because trying to protect them in this situation. So I left for them. How do you have the capacity to love someone else when you don't know how to love yourself? I feel like that's impossible. And you have to define what that means for you.
For you, not your parents.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
I've heard you say a lot of, you know, pretty much showing up, doing the work.
Affirmations every morning. Like, I have a regimen. Because I feel like the greatest way to combat negativity is through praise.
And it works.
So the very first thing I do when I wake up in the morning, I do my list of I ams. I'm trusting, I'm trustful, I'm loyal.
In the mirror?
Yes.
You do it in the mirror?
Yes.
Okay.
And I do affirmations in front of the mirror. So I speak those things that are not as though they were. That's the definition of faith. And I meditate. And then I turn on my praise music. I sing really loud.
Can you sing?
But no.
Okay.
And see, that's the problem.
But that's okay though, because the good Lord knows your heart.
That's right.
He knows your heart.
Hallelujah.
Using food as your medicine. Writing, journaling is a huge part. That's something that I've done even as a very young girl in these life situations. I always kept a journal.
You know, I've actually, and I'm sorry to cut you
No,
off,
it's
but
fine.
I actually sought a spiritual, I don't know what we call Adam, spiritual advisor. And he actually challenged me to do, because I journal, but he actually challenged me to do affirmations also. And it's crazy how much of a change it really does. It's sitting in front of a mirror, but literally talking to yourself and saying good things to yourself. It really does like shift something in you. Affirmations are really a big deal, like really speaking to yourself. You know, we're thrown so many things at us in terms of images and like what you should be, how you should look, how you should act. And it's like when you can just get yourself into a bathroom or into wherever and really just look at yourself, it really does put you at a vulnerable state, right? Because you have to confront everything, right? You literally are standing at the doorway of your soul like, what's up?
And going back and reading over those journals, I think is amazing, because you get to see your growth or where areas that you still need to grow in, you know, is so important. Having to talk about the people that I love and tell the stories of the things that's happened. You know, like in your mind, you're thinking, okay, well, if they didn't want me to tell the story, they could have showed up in my life differently. but I have to tell my truth because it's about the people that it's going to heal. It's not about bringing any attention to the things that's happened, or to intentionally hurt anyone. I would never do that. But just telling my story to heal. I think the best part of it, one, was finishing it. Because just reliving all of that stuff is very hard. It's grown me in such a way. Because it's like I've had to go back through it, really, to share it. And then just the outcome of knowing how much I've grown has been the best part. It's just a story, unless you're telling it to bless someone else. Because that's why I'm here. I'm here to learn. I always say, and I don't know, I heard Denzel say this too, but I don't think that's where I got it from. But I used to always say, I've never seen a U-Haul with a hearse connected to it. Like, I can't take any of the stuff with me. I could care less about that. What my soul is going to carry once I leave here is what's major. Not, from the outside. Because as a culture, too, we're really good at dressing up the outside and making it look so great. And on the inside, we're shredded. So I'm there to kind of help heal that inside stuff so that the inside matches the outside, because that's where beauty really starts.
Thank you today, Christina, for coming.
You're welcome.
This was a powerful conversation.
Yes.
Thank you for opening up. Tell them where they can reach you.
For the life coaching, you can go to my website, www.christinasjohnson.com. Everything that I'm involved in is there. But to sign up for the one-on-one coaching is there. So, and on social media, you can find me on Instagram at Christina Johnson _ Christina Johnson on Facebook, Inner Peace, INNERPIECE on Twitter, because I also do interior design. Okay. Yeah, I've been doing that for like 17 years. Wow. So, yeah.
Awesome. Again, thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me.
I mean,
this has been so
amazing.
much fun.
Yes. And thank you all for watching today. This was an amazing show. Leave comments. Let us know what you think about the show. Please come back for the next show. Follow us at Kinky Conversations on Facebook at Kinky Conversations Show. And our website is kinkyconvos.com. Thanks again for watching.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you. This is wonderful. Yes. It's awesome.
For more kinky conversations, log on now to www.kinkyconvos.com or on Instagram at Kinky Conversations. Interested in being on the show or showcasing your natural hair products? Use hashtag Kinky Conversations or hashtag CurlFriends.